arhn.eu.
1997. The year of Mario Kart 64, Final Fantasy VII, Mortal Kombat 4, Carmageddon, and Dink Smallwood, an independent RPG by Robinson Technologies. Its unique blend of fantasy and humor combined with a bundled story editor was more than enough to make up for its audio-visual shortcomings, and even now, almost 15 years since the original release, Dink still has a dedicated fanbase working on and sharing brand new adventures for the now freeware title. A new version, called Dink Smallwood HD, was also released back in 2010, giving new and returning players a chance to play the game on Android and iOS. But after all these years, how does the man behind the title feel about his creation? Is he surprised by the game's continued popularity?
Well, yeah, I guess I am, especially over on dinksmallwood.net, is that, I don't want to get the URL wrong, but those guys get all the credit for continuing to make D-mods and add-ons, and I think that's really the reason that people still want to boot it up and try it, and of course that it's free. I mean, that helps a lot. And then the HD versions, yeah, I think I am happy that people care enough to pay the $3 to get that version that's kind of, I hope, better and improved. And so, yeah, I'm surprised and happy. And I went back and I played Dink again for the first time in like 15 years, because after you make a game, you don't really want to play it. You're so tired of it from all the testing. But I went back and I kind of had to play it for the HD, and it's funny. It is funny. It still is. So I'm proud of it. Maybe not the coding part, but the game itself. The text.
What about the humble beginnings? How did Dink come to be?
Well, I knew that I wanted to do an RPG. I think Dink was my, I don't know, 5th RPG. Most of them, all of the previous ones were kind of with crappy ANSI-like graphics on the Commodore 16 and Commodore 128. I wonder where that version is. It had multiple screens and stuff like that. It was pretty horrid. So at that age that I was, which was, I don't know, 20-something, it was all about RPGs. Doesn't matter what, just have to do a medieval RPG. And there was no question about that. So Windows, the 95, was it, just came out? Let's see, when did Dink come out? Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess I was using 95 or something. I just knew that I had to figure out how to do it graphically, and got DirectX 3 or 5 or whatever it was at that time. And it worked okay, even with my horrid programming skills, as everyone can now go see since the source code is out there.
Building an RPG is a pretty big undertaking, especially for a tiny studio.
Well, it is true that RPGs are the toughest kind of game to make, because to reach the point where you say this is done and polished on an RPG is so amazingly difficult that you just never get there. So I have the utmost respect for anyone who can complete this kind of game. And we started to sell kind of pre-release licenses. I mean, we were selling it before it was done. And this added to the pressure quite a lot, because people start emailing you, hey, I paid you $15. You said the game's going to be done at this time. Why isn't it? And we had only released a kind of crappy demo. So, yeah, there was a lot of pressure, and it wasn't done. It was probably 70% done. And Justin and Greg and the other guys, they're kind of burned out and gone. And only I'm there in my, little computer room trying to finish it. And so it's a little rough, but that is what happened. Crunch time happened.
The game's got a crazy plot going on. What did the story writing process look like?
Most of it is made up, I think, as we went. Justin, me, and Greg did most of the story, and the funniest parts probably came from Greg, who just makes stuff up and does it, and same with me. There really wasn't a great document or plan. Justin tried to do that. He was the artist. But, you know, we're just so small and unorganized and just trying to get it done that it came out, yeah, pretty much as we could think of it and write it. But I think that helps in a lot of ways. One little section is self-contained and funny instead of trying to connect it to other things. So, yeah, mostly written as we went, I would say. And that's why the overall story doesn't really make sense, I think.
So do you still find it funny after all these years? Did the humor stand the test of time?
I think most of it is still funny. Although maybe only because I get all the jokes. Like, I think if like a 10-year-old now plays it and he sees in that one town with the parade, there's this, you hit the lady or you hit a peasant or something, and he says, guards, something. I took that from Ultima Online. No one is going to know that who was born in the last 10 years, probably. So it's funny to me. It's funny to, I think, people of my generation.
And then there's beheading ducks.
Right. That's truly timeless.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye.
And I'll see you next time when another developer coughs up some juicy details about their projects. Until then, stay out of trouble.